What is the right way to prune? This is a question all beginning gardeners ask, and for good reason. Nobody wants to prune a tree or shrub the wrong way. Well, I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that there is no right way to prune. There is a right way to make a cut on a woody plant, and there are some better times to make the cut. But the bottom line is that there is no right way to prune. Pruning is all about making cuts that will produce the result you want. I'll discuss this in more detail in this video. So what is the bad news? The bad news is that this makes pruning a bit more complicated. I can't tell you exactly which cut to make because I don't know what your goals are. What I can do is guide you through the various options to make pruning easier. Here's a picture of two yews. They are the same species of plant, but they have been pruned to look very different. The one on the left has been pruned into a very formal mushroom shape. The one on the right has had minimal pruning to make it look as natural as possible. Which one has been pruned correctly? Both of them. Each one has been pruned so that the plant meets a certain aesthetic goal. The selection between formal and informal is one of the first decisions you have to make in any pruning job. I took this picture in Holland. It shows two small backyards. A forsythia is growing along the fence line joining the two properties. One neighbor has decided to clip their side of the shrub in a formal style, and the other neighbor used a natural look. Neither style is wrong, but it may be a good idea for neighbors to agree on the style. If you decide on a formal look, there are many options open to you. Here are a few examples. Trees and shrubs can be pruned into various odd shapes. We call these topiaries. This is an example of cloud pruning to form idealized trees. This is an art form called niwaki. You can even go to extremes. You might think this is photoshopped, but it's not. Anyone can produce such a tree in their yard. If you decide to use one of these formal styles for your plants, you should know that the effort to keep them looking good is much more than is required for a natural style. Some of these need to be clipped a couple times a year. If you want to keep your pruning to a minimum, always pick an informal style. It is also harder to make mistakes using this style. Can you imagine accidentally cutting the head off of one of those topiaries? Most evergreens require no pruning at all, provided you plant them in the right spot. This dwarf Alberta spruce grows slowly and never needs pruning unless a stem reverts to a non-dwarf form, in which case it does need to be removed. The one in the picture has grown too big for the spot. It should either have been planted somewhere else, or it's now time to remove it. In my video about pruning evergreens, I'll explain why you can't just prune it smaller. Young trees benefit from pruning so that you can give them a solid structure. As they mature, they need less pruning, and many large trees hardly ever need pruning. The take-home message from this video is that there is no wrong way to prune. You have to decide on the style you want, and then prune to reach the goal. Many people struggle with pruning because they never set a clear goal. I have a large garden, and almost everything is pruned to look natural. It both suits the style of the garden, and it's a lot less work. I do have some more formal trees around my Japanese tea house to match its style, so you can certainly mix several styles in one garden. A formal evergreen in the middle of an informal garden suddenly becomes a focal point. Don't start pruning any tree or shrub until you are clear about your goals. Pruning becomes so much easier if you do that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to learn more about pruning trees and shrubs, have a look at my pruning playlist by clicking on the link in the top right-hand corner. This playlist is a sequence of all of my pruning videos, arranged in the form of a course. Start with the first one, Lesson 1, and work your way through the sequence. It will help you become an expert pruner. Thank you for watching.